What's up, B2? Capital G here. Got a very impressive duel for you guys to check out. This is one of those meta versus table 500 duels, and a lot of times when the meta deck ends up, basically not being able to close the duel out, or the table 500 deck is like somehow still in it, it's because the meta player ends up making a really costly mistake, or they just, I don't know, maybe they're trying to flex on their opponent. They're like, man, I can just beat you by showing up, and sometimes they end up getting upset. So this is definitely going to be one of those shocking duels. And you see at the bottom, we obviously have the Sky Strikers, the Brandish Maidens. This deck actually won a tournament on my live stream, our April tournament, and it's a very legitimate and scary deck. I actually think it's like one of the most consistent decks in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! When it comes to the TCG later in May, it will be 100% tier 1. It actually played Dracos in the finals and smoked it 2-0, and man, it's a freaking scary deck. And then at the top we got the Magnet Warriors, and oh my goodness, if this is not a brick hand, then what is a brick hand? Seriously. You got 3 copies of Berserkion, which you obviously can't summon, and then you have a copy of Valkyrion, which you also can't summon. So yeah, I would probably just auto scoop. I mean, maybe Brilliant Fusion is good enough to get them into, one of these powerful monsters, but I doubt it. Anyways, let's see what happens. You see the Brandish mains, which I'm gonna call them Brandish, are going first, and it's one of the most consistent decks probably we've seen in a long time. I'm talking about like Performages and Pals, Pepe consistent. Maybe see, I don't. Let me just pause right quick. Brandish do not need like spell books. They don't need any other of those small engines. The person who won my tournament only ran, I believe, 5 monsters, just 3 copies of Ray, and then 2 copies of Darkest Diablos, which is actually stupid in this deck because with Ray's effect you can tribute and it summons Darkest Diablos is actually disgusting. But the blue boy doesn't really leave you with any field presence. Regekis is also not needed. So you see off that Brilliant Fusion, he's able to make a legitimate play, but his Blood Dragon is going to get snatched, stolen, temporarily anyways. Let's see if Brandish are able to come back. Okay, so he goes into Kaguri. Does have that Regeki, so this field is definitely getting cleared. Although these monsters will float, I don't know if Brandish can actually OTK. Was that an Artifact Sanctum I saw? Maybe that's why this person lost the duel. Goes into the Water one, which is going to decrease these monsters, so you can attack over Mrs. Radiant. Going to go ahead and, yeah, I forgot. This is what happens when you don't read cards. Blood Dragon can't be destroyed by card effects. Yeah, that's kind of a problem. It says right here, rock monsters you control cannot be destroyed except by battle. Oh my goodness, he's 2 cards too. Use the Brandish pop card and the Regeki, so that was kind of bad. So yeah, maybe this Brandish player is actually stuck on table 500 as well. And you see that that water monster go down, but the problem with Brandish is you have to kill Ray, you have to kill the Link monsters. It's really difficult to actually like get rid of their board, even if it's only like 1 monster, and that's where Darkest Diablos comes in. You see another summon, a blue boy. I feel like you're not really getting anywhere when you do this. You're drawing a lot of cards, and that's cool, but I feel like it's not actually getting rid of these powerful monsters on board. And you see him go for the Hornet bit, which is going to potentially get another Brandish Link on field. Nope, not gonna go for the second Brandish Link. Instead goes for Artifact Sanctum, which is weird. Kills the copy of Block Dragon. Problem with that is that just lets them float even harder. He's going to get 3 monsters on board. I believe that was from the Berserkion, and then these pieces are going to trigger. These are like ghetto ABCs if you don't know the new Magnet Warriors. They're kind of like ghetto ABCs basically. And he's gonna go for Decode Talker. Artifact Sanctum's gonna pop that. I don't even target, bro. Get out of here. Doki Doki is actually used, and he's gonna go for Mrs. Radiant. How many times have we seen Mrs. Radiant this duel? We've seen it like a billion times, and that was not the greatest pop you've ever seen. That was actually Artifact Scythe getting popped, and unfortunately, artifacts float, so they actually summon themselves during your opponent's turn. I feel like there's a really weird version of Brandish that has way too much clutter that is unnecessary. Why are you running artifacts in Brandish? Brandish have all the cards they need with the quick plays and whatnot. Going to do some damage here. I think maybe you would have possibly saw another Link monster like Borreload, but the Artifact Scythe shut him down, so he's not able to go into the extra deck. Draws another copy of Sanctum, but look at this. Look how much these monsters are losing attack because how many cards are in the graveyard? You're talking about 31. I don't know how many spells are in here, but I'm guessing if you asked the Brandish player, they'd be like enough. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these monsters were big, but not as big as they would like to be. Afterburner is going to be used to pop. The problem is Brandish, and this is actually one of the ways you can beat the deck. If you can outgrind them, sometimes they don't really run out of resources because they can grind okay, but they won't be able to put a lot of offense on board. And sometimes in the later turns, you can actually get rid of like their couple of floating monsters. It's just the early turns where they plus like crazy. You've got Topological Bomber Dragon, which you never really see summon, and then Gorgonic Guardian, which is going to shrink this to 0 attack, and now he can actually close the game out. That's what I'm talking about. So yeah, that was a duel where now that I look at it again, I'm like, why is this person playing all of this like clutter and bad stuff in the Brandish deck? But Brandish is one of those decks where generally they stomp their opponent into the ground within the first 3 turns, very similar to like Pendulum Magicians. After turn 3, the deck actually does lose some significant amount of power, and if you can summon these really big powerful monsters that are hard to kill, and they happen to be monsters that float as well, kind of like ABC Buster Dragon, you can kind of outgrind them because their monsters do float, but eventually they will kind of run out of them. So whatever you guys thought of this nice little table 500 duel, leave it in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already. Turn on that notification bell for daily videos.